What's going on, everybody? It is trade review time for the day. Sorry, I'm getting to it late. I've been dealing with doctor stuff and things like that for the afternoon. Just as kind of a precursor, my 7-year-old does have COVID. She's got some low oxygen levels and stuff like that. So that is something that we are currently, like observing and whatnot. So, if I happen to be out a day or two in this coming week, that would probably be why, just to give everybody a heads up ahead of time. Let's start with PFE. So PFE, yeah. PFE is a whoops, I accidentally muted my mic there, it looks like. So I said at the morning I'll look for 49.83 down to 49.58. Come on, there we go. And these levels were actually based off, if I'm not mistaken, some 1 hour levels. Yep. See that right here. 20 SMA on the 1 hour had some expected confluence there as well. I actually said in chat you should take 52Cs. We're off by 2 cents. That's pretty impressive. I said in chat take 52C, right? And I ended up taking 51C. Now 52C went about 300%, and 51C only went about 100%. Excuse me, my allergies are killing me. So yeah, I said I like this pullback zone for 52C. If it goes to break pre-market high of 50.96, then I will take 53C. But we took some 52 calls here. I actually ended up getting it down here and selling it up here. It was all right. I mean, not a huge move. I think I ended up making a decent little chunk in that. I mean, like $50. And then I completely refreshed my position as it came back in. And as I said in chat, at about here, when it broke through the 20, I ended up taking 80% of my gains at 20 cents. And then I left the 2 to ride with a stop at break even. And eventually it came up, and as soon as I got 100%, I closed out. And that's kind of why the importance of scaling sometimes. I would have been okay with the entire trade had I been stopped out. Like, I would have been like, yeah, that was a good trade for today, just on the 8 that I sold. But the 2 that I left run ended up making almost the exact same amount as all 8 that I sold previous. Obviously, with way less risk involved, right? So, just a reminder that, how powerful scaling out can be in situations like that. As soon as we broke this pre-market high level from this grind upwards, we had a good move on our hands. We later on played a zone kind of up here, kind of anticipating some of these bounces, but I was done trading pretty early on. You can actually see right here that the same zone got touched multiple times, and every single time it ended up going for a good move. So it's a strong zone there. Very happy with that. Nvidia was actually my biggest gainer on the day, as far as like just pure dollar amount. I said I like an aggressive pullback zone of 210.24, which would have been based off of somewhere around here, something like that. 209.46. You're right about there. Yep. And I said that's an aggressive zone. A less aggressive zone, but a less likely move would be 208.65 for the bottom. So down here. Now, unfortunately for myself, I didn't even have the speed or the conviction, I guess, at the time to hop into this play. This was a gorgeous, gorgeous fill for 215C. You could have had, let's see, what is today, the 23rd? Okay. Yeah, so gorgeous, gorgeous fill, right? You could have had 220. I mean, it came the absolute bottom of the zone would have given you this, right? If you just taken your ads. But let's assume you got 230s or 240, 245s even, right? That's over 100% in 2 minutes. Over 100% on the single candle. And then even if you held all day, I mean, you could have netted more. It would eventually go almost 200% on that call out. So that's really, really strong. My issue though is I actually didn't hop in until it broke pre-market high, which is about right here. I think I ended up with 340, 350 ads, something like that. And I actually sold at the pop over 4. I think I got 410 or something. And man, that was a sweet move. That was a really sweet move. I was very happy with that. But instead of taking the pre-market high trigger, which is a good safe trigger, especially on an eruption like this, you know, you don't have to worry. Sometimes on these pre-market high breaks, when it blows like this and it pops over, you can mark it in with some pretty high conviction that it's going to at least get you somewhere up here, right? And I mean, shoot, it was a mover all day. Could have played some of this action. I didn't. Instead, I ended up playing the flush over here. I called out a flush zone that ended up paying on this dip to VWAP. I think it was somewhere around there. Yeah, as soon as it flushed, boom, it paid me. So I ended up winning on that trade a little bit later in the day as well. But, you know, seeing this 200 SMA on the 10, quick dip down, especially like, you know, pop up and then a dip back down again. After this pop up and this dip back down that didn't create a lower low, and, you know, maybe that could have been the conviction that I needed in order to be like, oh shit, yeah, the zone's working, hop in. Either way, I don't actually know if it popped up over first and then back down. I think that because I got in, it pops up over, I get in kind of over here. So I think that it went down first and then back up, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Opened at, yeah, I mean, there's no way to tell without going to the 1 minute. Regardless, I took the pre-market high trigger here and it paid. It went really, really well. NVIDIA has actually been doing super well for me the past week or so, so that's really nice to see. Again, these zones are based off of these areas of consolidation and pre-market. I see this pop up. You're expecting a push based on just huge and enormous volume. You're expecting a push, you know, one way or the other. So sometimes if these indicators get defeated or it forfeits these indicators, you sometimes see these big corrections. You know, as the volume kind of levels out. Sometimes there's just so much pure volume at the open of people day trading and people investing long term, and all the technicals and all that kind of go to the wind for a moment, which is, you know, why we see such high volatility moves with such huge range. When, you know, and it's the most profitable part of the day. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But that's kind of why I gave myself this lower zone. I was like, you know, maybe it forfeits these and comes to bounce off of these levels. I felt really good about the bounce off here because, I mean, look at this. This is from, I mean, 6 hours worth of resistance here at this key level, right? But the top zone ended up working. I mean, you technically still could have played the bottom zone, got a small dip into it, and if you were aggressive, could have taken that. But either way, that's why I called it the way that I did. AMC, I actually took a loser on here. So this is still the same zone. Pre-market high trigger. Man, it could have been good. You could have taken a scalp here and then maybe reloaded on this 3-bar play. I don't know. I ended up getting stopped out because I took fills in the zone. And then we just had all of this chop, right? So in the future, what could have, let's see real quick, right? Like, what could have netted me a better zone that I wouldn't have gotten stopped out at, right? Like something like this. Well, I mean, first of all, these levels, look at that. That pretty much coincides, you know, really, really perfectly with this. I could have, yeah, I don't know. See, if I was going to use that level, I probably would have gone all the way down here as well to incorporate this high, and that would have fucking been the move. But, you know, we're forfeiting the low of pre-market and stuff like that, so I don't see myself calling this play any differently. Even, obviously looking at it in hindsight, say, yeah, I would have called 34.52. That's just not realistic. But yeah, I mean, if you held through the pain, which I wouldn't advise, I was very content with taking my 10 cent per, 15 cent per loser or whatever I took on this. If you held through the pain, it ended up going over 100%, which is obviously incredible. Well over 100%. Let's see, I said 40 C's, so that might have been a little too far out. It is Monday, and you got to be careful about how much fucking contracts cost. And that kind of scares me. So at its low, which would have been the bottom of the zone, you were looking at 56 cents. Yeah, it would go over 100, almost 150. So really strong move, really strong move. Again, I stopped out. I'd love to tell you that, nah, dude, I knew it was going to go up, so I held because I had no fear or whatever, but it's just not the case. I took a loss. Apple. This ended up being a really good scalp in the morning, and then it was just an ugly play up until about, this level break here. Pre-market high area. On that eruption up, and then a pullback to, this would have been the move that you caught for the remainder of the day. Yep, that was it. But at the bell, I called out 148.31, 148.31 down to 148.08. And man, I ended up snagging, some orders on the ask right here. Now, again, if you haven't seen how I do my orders quick on Webull, I have that video in the must read section. If you can get comfortable doing it that way, I mean, you can be super fast. You can be very, very fast. But even still, I wasn't fast enough to snag NVIDIA at the bottom while also watching other things as well. So, it's not perfect. But so here is a pre-market high trigger. I said Apple I like 152.5 for the move up. If it goes to break pre-market high, I'll take 155. So I took 152.5s right here on this action downwards. It pretty much pushed right into the zone towards the bottom of it. It broke up here. I immediately hit market sell as soon as it touched 8 contracts. As soon as it touched this, probably got filled somewhere up here. It ran up, it rejected pre-market high, and started to, collapse back down, and I marketed out the rest. It wasn't a huge gain. I think that I ended up making like, I don't even know, 20 cents maybe. 152.5s. Yeah. Not even. So I think I had like a 34 average. So yeah, I probably made close to 10 cents per, something like that. Let's say 31 at its peak, you would have made 51. It's just not a super lucrative trade across the board. If you would have taken better contracts, like 150s or something, you would have done a lot better. So you would have gotten 80, 88. Yeah, you would have done a lot better. So that's something I'll keep in mind. I try to go further out earlier in the week simply because, further out on strikes, simply because they're cheaper. And sometimes Monday, Apple, SPY, NEO, PFE to an extent, those aren't super expensive contracts, regardless of the day of the week. And then on Friday, they're like almost, they're worth nothing. But, NVIDIAs and coins at UPST, mRNA. Oh my God, that's a big one. Dude, sometimes those will be like $1,000 contracts on Monday. So, that's kind of why I was looking for plays for a little further out in that respect. Now back to the Apple play itself to give you an idea of where I got this zone. You can see right here, a lot of confluence there, a lot of confluence there. I always double check on the 1 hour chart to make sure there's not like some kind of huge signal that I'm missing, but you can see how much confluence these levels had. Going back, quite a ways, beginning of the month. Look at this 20 SMA respect. It flushes down past a little bit, 20 cents or so, but all in all, really strong position. We had confluence of the 5 over here as well. Now Apple, obviously I scalped it really quickly at the bell for a great move, really great move. But it did eventually push 20 cents below the zone or whatever. And that's fine. I just avoided playing it. It peaked up, came up. You should have taken this pre-market high break. That was the trigger, it looks like. Pre-market high break here. A dip literally to the cent of pre-market high. To the cent. This is a peak of pre-market high, 148.87. The low of this candle, 148.87. So to the cent, it respects pre-market high for the all-day eruption. That's why usually at the bell, when a stock rockets through pre-market high and you see some light selling, see this is light selling volume comparative to the move that brought us up. When you see these kinds of things, they're usually high or low risk, kind of medium probability plays. Sometimes it flushes back pre-market high and it comes against you pretty hard, but you have a reasonable stop. If the idea is I'm playing this level, that's the conviction to get into the trade. My idea is a break of pre-market high and a revisit. There's no reason to have a stop any lower than, fucking right there. You know what I mean? Because, this is your idea. And if it folds, then your idea folds with it. There's no reason to change your idea mid-trade to be like, well, we got indicators down here. So let me just see what happens when they react to that, and it might come back up and save me. No, because the idea wasn't, I'm going to play the fucking indicators. The idea was, I'm going to play this, right? So it's important to identify, where is my plan forfeit? What is the actual plan and criteria that go into it? Stuff like that. So yeah, that's that. Let's go to scout plays. I ended up taking some American Airline lottos that paid actually. I ended up taking them about right here for 0.14. And as it came up here, I sold it 0.2. So I made $60 on some cheapies. I was happy with that because I didn't want to pay close attention to it. And once I saw Boeing BA start to pull down, I didn't want to be in this because Boeing is the leader and these will all follow. Even though Boeing is technically not in the airline sector, you'll see that Boeing pulls airlines with it. Very similar action. Very similar action. See that? Man, Boeing was a fucking monster at the bell as well. So is Snap, right? So I made a zone on Snap, and then I looked at the volume, and I was like, I feel worse about this play simply because the people who are reading my calls are, it might be a little illiquid, and I'd hate for them to get stuck in it. So I opted to swap it out for Apple, which, kind of worked. But look at this Snap zone, man. It ended up paying fat over 100%, I think. Let's assume we would have taken 77s because they're cheap as fuck. Holy shit. That's kind of an anomaly. So yeah, they would have gone at least 100%. I don't know that you would have gotten that much out of it. 280. Wow, that's crazy. It hurts a little bit to look at actually. I'm trying to find the NVIDIA flush zone and PFE zone. Okay, so NVIDIA, here's the flush zone on NVIDIA. I think I know where it was. I think it was right over here. But anyways, let's go in 214.67. Yep, I think it was the base of this. Close to it. 214. There we go. 214.67. I said this is my flush point. A push down below that, and you should see some good downward action. And then my zone was 214.67. Yep. So as soon as it came through here, a better one probably would have been up here with all this multiple interactions. But on the 5 and the 10, it's kind of hard to paint that picture. Either way, it came to push through here. I took my puts. I actually took my puts a little higher up. I want to say up here. either way, I ended up taking like 20-30 cents on a move down here on 10 contracts. It was nice. It was nice. We got this VWAP touch. I was still in 2 contracts, and then as soon as I saw this push down, I marketed out on the last 2, and I ended up getting filled like way up here because it literally went pew, and like for a split second, and then it immediately corrected, which is like a really good sign of strength, right? Yeah. Man, Nvidia, if you took those calls at the bell and then just set a trailing stop, well, all this chop would have probably stopped you out. But in a perfect world, let's say you held them, damn, dude, you made insane money. I would love to be able to say, yeah, I'm that guy, dude. I nail that play every time, but I don't. I don't. So PFE, 55 to 53.2. So let's go check that out, right? 55. Come on. To 53.2. Now, I remember this one actually quite well. So on the, I first made this zone over here, right? As it popped up here. And I believe Han or D, somebody took this position when it came right here. I wasn't fast enough on the fills to actually get this move. That would have been fucking nice, though. I was still actually in with 2 contracts on the 51s, so yeah, I didn't want to like worsen my average potentially since I was pretty much already holding just the tail end of my position. Maybe I could have added a different strike, but then I would have had to manage 2. Either way, so it ended up coming down right there. I didn't get into it, but we waited. Some people asked, like, what do you think? And I said, I still like the zone later on. So it came down and gave us a fill. And I actually was talking about the 50, what was it, 6.6 level. I said 56.6 is a big break, and then the next one is 57.8. And we struggle with 57.8 for the rest of the day. But you could have taken 10 contracts for 10 cents, 10 cents, you know, at least. But man, you know, those 2 levels that I mentioned were literally the levels. I mean, the zone pushed it up to those levels. It would resist, pop up, reject. I actually was in here. I held through this, and then I ended up taking gains on the second 50.78 touch for like 12 cents or something. My position wasn't amazing because I added up here. I could have probably got a better average if I just either averaged down here or waited until here or sold entirely and just got back in, right? I just didn't expect a candle of this size for sure. But once I saw it, and the next one come green and kind of pushed back above the 20, I was like, well, I feel good about the move still. I just wasn't sure in that few handful of seconds where I needed to make a decision to either average down or whatever else. So, yep, that was that. And I want to say that was actually it for me, man. I want to say that was it for me. I think that was all my trades for the day. Now, a couple of plays I am looking at for... Hold on one second, I'm open up Thinkorswim. A couple of plays I am looking at for tomorrow. You know, we could see some of the stocks that got the shit beat out of them today have a little bit of a recovery, which would be dope. That would be nice. Let's see, charts. It's my divergent indicator, obviously. Baba, I know, took an ass whipping and gave us a divergent low signal outside of the second and third deviation, so that's nice. Still got a gap to fill up here. Continued push down with a divergent signal might be good. So that's pretty nice. Scan. See what else has given us a divergent high. Pfizer. Oh, it's an upside down one. We want divergent low. So, you know, one thing that I didn't even notice is that PFE is giving a divergent signal to the downside. This one was correct. So if you followed these signals, you would have. This one ended up creating a higher high, so that checks out. This one created a higher high. This one created a lower low. So you know, maybe this one will create a lower low as well. It'll be worth inspectigating. Come on, man, hurry up. Oh, that's all correct. No matching symbols. There's no way. I mean, I'm fucking looking at Baba right here. Let's try divergent high really quick. Divergent low. Oh. That's why. I see. Okay, so Babo is the number one. Not very many though, within those criteria. So Uber, GM, Uber. Let's create none new. I actually would stay away from Uber. This shit is not looking excellent in my opinion. GM. Again, you know, you're fighting the trend, expecting them to bounce up. It might give it to you, but you're talking about, from the current price, you're talking about 15 cents or something like that. MU, JD, Roblox. MU, JD. Oh, that one looks good actually. That's a huge wick up. Wow. Roblox. Basing off of the 50 SMA, that looks good as well. So, you know, those are all things that, you know, you can kind of see what the daily looks like, and then I'll, you know, open them up tomorrow in pre-market and see if they need to be added to the list of watchers. Otherwise, you know, I have a list of about 20 to 30 that I will look at every day, which is how I come up with the list that we look at now. But yeah, that's it. Obviously, reach out to me if you guys need anything. Hopefully we have a great day tomorrow. Again, due to the current health situation with my daughter, not sure, you know, what my mornings are going to look like. I'll always be there at the bell no matter what. It's just a matter of like how long after that do I anticipate continuing. So just fair warning. You know, I appreciate all the kindness and everything like that. But otherwise, I will see you guys early in the morning, and hopefully we continue to have a kick-ass rest of the week. Be well.